And here we go.
Sports!
I listen to you guys all the time.
It's awesome.
I'm in the mood for one of your classic anecdotes.
Give yourselves a round of applause.
All right, that's enough. Hey guys, there is someone I want you to meet.
Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun on Off the Hook Sports. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net.
We're all part of the same team here.
Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
It reminds me with Rico, but maybe Nico was a big topic last week. Caleb Calhoun, how are you, sir?
Doing good. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm up. We got a lot to get to in the program. Give me a lineup and tell me what's going on.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about Nico. Obviously, he has opened his mouth and given his take on things that have happened. Well, not really. He just responded to some rumors. We're going to talk about that. How many games will losing Nico Iamaleava cost the Vols? Basketball obviously adds the 5-star or the highest rated recruit in school history. Josh Heupel's track record of missing on quarterbacks. Tennessee's transfer portal losses. I think one might be a little significant. And should the spring portal window even exist? And we're going to close with Lane Kiffin took a shot at Carson Beck's NIL money.
Yeah, I like that. May I ask a question? At this point, do you think that the Nico thing has been overplayed?
No, I don't think so. It's one of the biggest stories in the offseason in college football history.
Well, no, it is. But my point is, as far as Nico and what he's willing to do, my question is, will it affect wherever program he goes?
Oh, he's at UCLA now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could. I think it could affect the chemistry of UCLA and the situation they're in. Yeah, I think it could absolutely affect them and the team chemistry of them. I don't think people are very happy about. I don't think people are going to be very happy about how at UCLA about how he landed there.
Well, they don't care. Come on, that's suddenly their guy, right?
Well, no, I'm talking about the teammates that were they might have been behind Joey Aguilar. We have no idea from that perspective. So they might have been behind Joey Aguilar for a while, and obviously now they're convincing themselves of Nico. I mean, look, it's just not the best look, obviously.
Well, it's not. But before we dive into it, how many wins and losses does it actually affect?
Oh, we'll get to that. That's one of our topics, but I'm going to save my thoughts on that for the next topic.
Well, give me a tease.
I think it affects, as of right now, 1-1, but we'll see.
1-1 on both sides. UCLA wins one more game.
No. I don't think it affects UCLA at all. I think it takes away a win from Tennessee.
Okay. We'll get into that. It's time for today's tough question, brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Excuse me, Banks & Jones, as I'm fighting a little bit of the cold. Banks & Jones, right now, today's tough question is here.
Question. Boom. You heard that. Now, take it. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Okay, Caleb, here's my point. We've had all kinds of fun with the Nico thing. But at the end of the day, if I've made the over-under at 1.5, does Tennessee lose 1.5 games or one game or two because of Nico and Nico Iamaleava's departure to the transfer portal? What do you think?
I think I take the under for 1.5. I think they lose one game. I don't think they're going to lose more than one game. I thought there might have been some issues for them last year anyway. I was thinking maybe 10-2. I'm probably down to 9-3 now. But again, with a lot of this depends on who they could go get in the transfer portal.
No. Let me stop you there. They are not going to get a guy that could win them one more game than Nico in the transfer portal, right?
I was going to say match what they were doing with Nico.
Okay, I can do that, but man, the spring transfer portal, and we'll talk about this later, that whether or not it should even exist. Caleb, I just do not see that Tennessee is going to land a magnificent quarterback out of the transfer portal.
No, I'm with you on that, but I guess I'm saying that notwithstanding, I say one game. It'll cost them. I think it won't be the worst thing, because if they cost themselves one game with Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre starting at quarterback, they may cost themselves one game, but their future actually could be a lot brighter for 2026 because they have so many people coming back. They could all kind of grow together. You know, you have you have whichever quarterback starts. They would probably be back in 2026. They could grow with Mike Matthews. 4 new offensive linemen who would at least 4 or 5 would be back in 2026. Braylon Staley would probably be back. Heck, Boo Carter if they use him on offense. So if you start a new quarterback, it'll cost yourself a game. If you start Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre, I think you cost yourself a game. I'm under 1.5 games that you cost yourself. But I think your future is better.
Right. Okay. Wait, your future's better without Nico?
I think your future for 2026 looks really, really good.
Why? Because the dad, or because?
No. I think that because you get a chance for these. Basically, I thought Nico was going to be gone after 2025 anyway. So now you're starting this whichever quarterback. If you start Jake Merklinger or George McIntyre, while you sacrifice for 2025, you go into 2026 with whoever quarterback started with a lot more experience. And that's a much better situation because all the players they'll be playing with are going to be back in 2026, barring a transfer portal move. So we're talking Mike Matthews, 4 offensive linemen that'll be back headlined by David Sanders and Braylon Staley. And so with that in mind, I think that while there will be a drop-off in 2025, I also think in 2026, there's going to be I think there will be a development forward in 2026 with whichever quarterback they go with, because that quarterback will have a lot more experience having played in 2025, assuming they go with McIntyre or Merklinger and not a transfer portal QB.
Okay, jot this down. In 2027, is that Josh Heupel's last season?
Oh, that's a topic for another day, but I can't jump that far yet because I have no idea what's going to go. A lot of this depends on what he does with the transfer portal going forward. And we're obviously going to talk about Josh Heupel's track record with quarterbacks in the near future.
Yeah, but my argument, and we'll do it a topic for another day, but my argument would be you're entering year 7?
In 2027, you'll be entering year 7, yes.
Yes. Man, if you're not winning at a championship level there, what's going on?
Yeah, that's a good question. You haven't given me your answer. How many games do you think it'll cost Tennessee not having Nico will cost Tennessee?
I'm going to be frank with you, not a 1. And
you don't think it'll cost Tennessee 1 game?
No, and I really like Nico, so I don't want this to read wrong, but with Nico, to me, he was too hesitant. He didn't get the ball out. He finished the last half of the season really well, and I was impressed. Okay, but I don't think Merklinger's a big drop off. I know you like McIntyre, and that's fine.
Yes. Okay, so you think Tennessee, but okay, what about what you thought? We know you're judging based off Nico Iamaleava last year. You don't think with the expected development, you don't think he was capable of any sort of development this year that would make him significantly better than McIntyre or Merklinger?
Golly, great question. Great question. So I guess today's tough question is, knowing what we know, is Tennessee better off with Jake Merklinger? Nico.
No, the question is how many games does Nico Iamaleava cost Tennessee?
Okay,
That's
let's do that. Let's do that right now. Today is tough question. Put it on the poll if you don't mind, and it's brought to you by Banks and Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. BanksandJones.com.
Why Banks and Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks and Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks and Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks and Jones. T. Scott Jones.
Okay, so will Nico cost Tennessee a game by his absence this upcoming season?
Okay, so I say he will cost them one game, but you say none. Now, here's my poll question. How many games will Nico Iamaleava cost Tennessee in 2025? 0, 1 game, 2 games, and they'll actually be better. So Tennessee will actually be better.
Well, that's not true.
Yeah, I don't think that's true either. I'm just throwing that out there. Some people are voting on that. Some people are casting their vote for that.
Okay,
So,
where are you?
I'm 1 game. I'm at 1 game. I think he'll cost them 1 game. But poll question overall, I think they'll actually could be 2 games better in 2026, depending on what they do. So there's a lot to get excited about with 2022, even though they will cost themselves a game in 2021. And so, and listen to me, 2021 and 2022. In 2026, even though they will cost themselves a game in 2025. So yeah, I think Nico Iamaleava will cost Tennessee 1 game in 2025. But I don't think he's going to cost Tennessee. I think that will actually make Tennessee better in 2026 if they use George McIntyre or Jake Merklinger.
Okay, here is why I don't believe it'll cost them a game, because I think they can get the same thing out of Merklinger that they got out of Nico last year, and that is he began the season. Would you agree with this? He began the season just kind of okay because of the tackle issues, and then he ended the season and he was good, but I didn't think he was elite.
No, I think he just showed a competitive fire, and we're going to talk about this in his response to some of these things in a second. He showed a level of competitive fire that I think we liked seeing, particularly in the college football playoff game. But yeah, he never was elite last year, ever. And that part is very, very true. A part of this was Nico, but the other part is, there was a defensive adjustment that I think Tennessee and Josh Heupel, I don't think Nico expected that to happen in Josh Heupel's offense, and it wasn't Josh Heupel's fault. It was just defenses adjusted their scheme, so there weren't as many easy, wide open, deep shots like there were with Hendon Hooker in 2022.
Fair enough. Okay, for those that don't know, I am fighting a cold, doing the best I can. So I'm good. I like to think I'm good. Do I sound okay, Caleb?
A little nasally.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So when we move forward to Merklinger, who has to be the people that step up?
Well, obviously, it's Jake Merklinger and George we don't know yet, but we don't know if it's going to be Merklinger or McIntyre. But that's definitely a column for today on who steps up. But obviously, you need a Mike Matthews. You need the offensive line to step up. 4 new offensive linemen. There's a lot of tricky stuff. But yeah, there are quite a few weapons that need to step up. But they were not there. It doesn't really change who needed to step up based on when Nico was there.
Okay, bring in a super chat, please.
All righty. Let's see. Nicholas, Nicholas says that's assuming you get the same thing out of Bishop as you did with Sampson in the defense, correct? Nicholas, true, but you're not going to get the same out of Bishop that you got with Sampson. However, you do have Peyton Lewis who could help, and also the receivers I think could end up being better, which is a good sign for Tennessee.
Okay, is there a chance, because there was one thing I liked about Travis Stevens. He put his foot in the ground and go. He didn't think about it. Is that not Bishop?
I just don't think Bishop is as physically gifted as a Travis Stevens. We'll see. They're saying he is. But we're not sure yet. So we'll kind of have to see how that plays out. But I think Peyton Lewis is the more talented back of the two.
I do, but there seems to be some sense of allegiance to Bishop, which I don't completely understand, but I think it's really good.
I think there's just a lot of respect for the way he's played and how hard he's played and things like that. So that's pretty much how that is.
Okay, Bishop, 1,000 yards or more.
No.
No, definitely not.
Definitely not.
Okay, so we have a little what the H, and it's about Nico. So he actually, I respect him for making a stand on Friday. I do. I think that he needed to do that and speak out because his dad had done so. So let's go what the H as we have some Nico response.
What the H?
Wow, I've never worked hard on anything. What a cool life.
For real? The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones. BanksandJones.com. Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
Yeah, Jack's right. I am hitting the dequel. So what can you tell me about this young man?
Nico Iamaleava went on Instagram on Friday and released a story and went on his Instagram story and had a couple of comments about things that that people were saying about him. I want to share a couple of them with you guys real quick. They're kind of interesting. It's basically the first time Nico Iamaleava has really broken his silence at all regarding what's been happening. So we're going to get to that now. I'm just trying to pull it up again real quick. Here we go. So
Okay.
This is the...
I want to start with this. Should he have spoken out loud? His dad did, and then just got completely quiet after the B Nikos thing. Should Nico say anything at all?
I wouldn't have had any problem with him saying something. I just don't like what he said because he addressed a rumor that nobody was making. So just to share this with you guys real quick, this is the first thing Nico Iamaleava said. And here we go. He, on his Instagram story, he goes, "Damn, I tried to sit out and throw the playoff game too. These boys just make me laugh, man. Ain't no way." And then one more that he showed. I'm going to show this one. He also, right after that, was being sarcastic. Here's a picture of him with Navy Schuler. And he goes, "Me and Navy Schuler talking about how I'm going to throw the game."
Okay.
Now the point.
Stop. Nico may have been negotiating for more money before the Ohio State game, but he was never going to throw the game. Can we stop that?
But see, that's why it's weird that Nico went there. No one was ever accusing him of throwing the game. No one said, did you see anybody on the message boards, Dave, say that Nico was trying to throw the game? I heard rumors that he was threatening to sit out the Ohio State game. But he just made up a rumor that nobody accused him of. No one said Nico was trying to throw the game. So, I mean, I think that's where I'm blown away by what he said. I don't have a problem with Nico Iamaleava speaking out. I have a problem with the fact that he was trying to blow. I mean, that he put out on his Instagram story, hinted that people accused him of trying to throw the game. If he had just said, "Why would anybody think I was trying to set out the Ohio State game," and left it there, I'd have been totally fine with that. Perfectly fine. No issues. My problem is that he then went further to say they said I was trying to throw the game. Nobody accused you of trying to throw the game, Nico. And anybody who watched that playoff game would know, because Nico Iamaleava, to his credit, went all out in that playoff game against Ohio State. They lost 42-17, but Nico put up a fight, and he was the only one to put up a fight.
I thought he played as hard as anybody on the team last half of the season.
Yeah. Yes. And in that playoff game, he gave his all in that one. So, look, I have not heard anybody say that. I mean, people are saying that rumor was going around. I haven't heard anybody post that or put that up. And look, if Nico were to specifically say, that I wasn't trying to hold out the Ohio State game, that's false. I would have left this alone, or I would have addressed it maybe, but I would have defended him, because I didn't think he was trying to sit out that game. But the idea that Nico was trying to, nobody was accusing him of trying to throw the game. So for him to say that's a little weird.
So why did you respond?
I think it's a way to, I think Nico was somewhat, it's a way to play victim a little bit and to deflect blame, because I think he was upset about some of the reports about him. I understand that, totally understandable. And so he then tried to refute the most incendiary report about him, one that nobody actually really made, though. It was a straw man. It was a complete and utter straw man to defend himself. And so anybody who watched that game would know he wasn't trying to throw the game, obviously. I mean, there were so many other issues. Ohio State was torching Tennessee's defensive backs all game. He got his
helmet cracked.
Yeah. So, like, he was playing his heart out. It wasn't him. But, I mean, I don't think anybody thought Nico tried to throw that game. This isn't like, see, Tyler Bray gets upset because many of us accuse him of throwing the Kentucky game in 2011. When Tennessee lost to Kentucky. I don't know how true that is. Derek Dooley has defended Tyler Bray in the past and says no one says because they don't want to go to a bowl, they're just going to play awful. Possibly true. Certainly looked like Tyler Bray was not trying in that game, but whatever. This one, though, no one is going to put that. No one was putting the playoff loss on Nico. And anybody who was, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, but I don't know many Vol fans who were doing that. Maybe somebody did, and that person has no credibility whatsoever if they're saying that. But, like, Nico is refuting an argument that almost nobody is making against him, and it's a weird way to defend yourself in that way. You're making up an accusation against yourself that nobody made. So
for those that are old like me, explain stories like on Facebook. So they're there and they go away. Is that
a Facebook story or an Instagram story is up for about 24 hours and then it goes away.
Okay, so it said what?
That's what I just showed you. It said it basically said tried to sit out and throw the playoff game too. These boys make me laugh, man. And then he did a sarcastic joke of me and Navy Schuler talking about how I'm going to throw this game right now.
Okay, he didn't try to throw a game. That's silly. Gregory says we won 10 games in spite of Nico. Agreed?
I wouldn't go in spite. I think Nico played very well in the second half of the Alabama game. I think Nico had a lot to do with Tennessee beating Alabama last year. You have a point with some other games, but Nico played very well against Alabama. I'll say up front, I don't think Tennessee beats Alabama without Nico.
Okay, so if you're UCLA, what are your expectations of Nico?
Well, I don't think they took him without a plan of starting him this year. Poor Joey Aguilar, who transferred and worked with him all spring practice. But I think that you're expecting him to be your starter this year. Or Joey Aguilar starts for a year, Nico rides the bench one more year and then becomes a starter in 2026. But I have a hard time Nico would have gone to UCLA if that were the case, because why are you delaying your NFL draft potential by sitting out a year?
Man, what an absolute mess.
Yeah, complete mess, right?
I mean, when you look back at it, don't you kind of feel sorry for all parties involved other than Nick Iamaleava?
Oh, I've been feeling sorry for Nico from the start. And I mean, a lot of things are being said about him now because of what his dad's doing. And I mean, I just, I don't know if I don't know if there's any way out for him on this. So like, I think that's what's so unfortunate for him is that like, it's just not. It's not a good situation. We can just say that.
Oh my gosh, Jimmy, will you read this?
UCLA has a great men's volleyball tradition, a record 21 NCAA titles. Nico's a gifted volleyball player. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm a fan. That's hilarious.
You do know that he's a better volleyball player than a football player.
Yes, but one makes way more money than the other.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him on doing that. It is time for the stat of the day. Stat of the day brought to you by Sports Treasures. Here we go.
Stat of the day. They never lie. Or do they? Stat of the day. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Off the Hook Sports.
What do you got, Caleb?
We're going to talk about this in the next segment, but I'm previewing it just a little bit, which is that on Sunday, Tennessee landed a commitment in basketball from a 5-star named Nate Ament. We're going to talk about him soon, but he's expected to be a one and done.
You don't like it.
Yes, and I'll talk about why I don't like it, but he's expected to be a one and done. And the stat for now is if he is a one and done, he would be the 10th one and done. I'll just say it this way. Rick Barnes has had 9 one and dones to this point, one and done freshmen who went to the NBA draft. 4 of them have been at Tennessee. This would be the 5th.
Well, one though at Texas was pretty good.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of them actually turned out to be okay. We'll just talk about whether or not they were successful for the team.
All right, stay tuned. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, as we broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios. Stay tuned. Coming up on the program, that 5-star guy that Caleb just hates. I don't know why. Why do you hate him?
Well, I don't hate him. Okay, I never said that.
Stay tuned. 2 minutes off the Hook Sports.
Why Banks & Jones? Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks & Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks & Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? It's Banks & Jones. T. Scott Jones. banksandjones.com.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare. Are you ready to get strong? At NFC, we offer top-notch weight training and functional fitness, so you can build strength and improve your performance. Join today at nfc1.com or stop by any one of our 7 East.
Welcome back to the program. Hopefully we'll have Dave Hooker back with us in a second. I am Caleb Calhoun here with Off the Hook Sports. We obviously opened the segment talking a lot more about Nico, as Nico Iamaleava addressed what had been said about him. And obviously it was not, it was straw manning to a certain degree of Tennessee. So that was kind of intriguing on how Nico said that. Dave is back.
Hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Anyways.
For those that don't know, I've been battling a cold, and I'm probably a little high on Dayquil or NyQuil or whatever the hell it is. But here we go. Caleb, let's move forward. So, the thing that I wanted to ask you about is, we know John Calipari is a one and done guy. That's not the case with Rick Barnes. So, what do you make of his latest pickup?
Yes, so Nate Ament, a 5-star forward committed to Tennessee on Sunday. He is the highest rated recruit in Tennessee basketball history. There are a lot of positives with Nate Ament. He is a 6'9" wing. Tennessee will plug him in and start him immediately. That just sounds perfect. He is also proof that Rick Barnes...
When you say something like that, that just sounds perfect. There's a big but coming.
Yes. He is also proof that Rick Barnes at 70 still got it, as we can all tell. So Nate Ament is an incredible pickup for Tennessee in so many ways. They've already added Jacoby Gillespie. They have Bishop Boswell, and they're probably going to add another shooting guard. They have a front court that includes Jalen Carey, Felix Opera, Cade Phillips, and JP Estrella. So all they needed, the biggest thing they needed was a wing, and they pick up a 5-star, one-and-done freshman wing who is the highest-rated recruit they've ever picked up. Sounds great. Everybody loves it. And then you go through history, and you look at Rick Barnes' past with one-and-done freshmen. And guys, while I've been high on Rick Barnes with one-and-done transfer portal guys who are like seniors.
Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Is this a great pickup? Just in and of itself.
On paper, yes, but not for Rick Barnes. Because
but tell me why it's a great pickup just on paper, and we'll go to the Barnes part.
Well, because on paper, he fills a void that Tennessee had, which is they needed a wing. They don't have a wing, and he is the highest rated recruit in Tennessee basketball history, and he steps into that wing role just immediately. They can just start him right then. So that's why he's a great pickup. Now, again, I'm going to go through Rick Barnes' history. And I told you guys in the stat of the day that Rick Barnes has listen to me. Rick Barnes has signed up to this point.
No. Hired is fine now.
Yeah, that is true. Rick Barnes has signed 9 one-and-done freshmen throughout his history. Okay? Corey Joseph, Miles Turner, Jaden Springer, Keon Johnson, Kevin Durant, Avery Bradley, Tristan Thompson, Julian Phillips, Kennedy Chandler. All 5 stars, all went to the NBA after their freshman year and all were drafted in the NBA. Hey, Dave, with those 9 one-and-dones, guess how many times Rick Barnes got out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament?
Once.
You nailed it. Once. And it was with Julian Phillips 2 years ago. Here's my question, Dave. Did anybody give Julian Phillips credit for that Tennessee team getting to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament?
No.
They lost, by the way, to a lower seed in Florida Atlantic. Here's the problem with Rick Barnes, and this is something I've talked about for a while. He coaches hard. He focuses on developing players. He coaches effort. He coaches fundamentals. All great things. All things that will help develop you for the NBA, and you should love that if you're any type of recruit. But for one-and-done freshmen, it doesn't always work. They don't buy in, and they shouldn't buy in because they're not trying to fit the mold of a team. They are using a pit stop to bide their time before they go to the NBA because they resent this rule that they have to even go to college for a year. And they are, and this is why it doesn't work. Okay. Rick Barnes didn't even get out of the first weekend with Kevin Durant. Here's actually what happened with Texas for those who don't know. And I'm just going to tell you guys the story of Rick Barnes' track record at Texas because it's kind of similar to what's happening with Tennessee now. And you should be worried that the second round Rick moniker is returning. Rick Barnes, when he was at Texas, he had a period. He rebuilt.
Wait, so you're saying the second round Rick thing is coming up because he got a great player?
He got more. Yes, because he got a yes, because he got a great player. It doesn't fit what he does. Let me break it down. Okay. 2001 to 2002 to 2004. Rick Barnes made the Sweet 16, the Final Four, and the Sweet 16. Then he started recruiting well. And then because he started recruiting well, in his last he started getting a lot more one and dones. Matter of fact, I think his first one and done came right after that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then 9 of his final 11 years, he didn't get out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Never at Texas did he get out of the first weekend with a one and done. And there's 2 standout years that I want to bring up to you with Rick Barnes. One of them includes the year he got fired. But let's take 2009, 2010. So in 2008, 2009, Texas went to the second round of the NCAA tournament. They returned everybody, okay? They returned everybody. And then they added 5-star shooting guard Avery Bradley. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, they returned everybody, and they add this 5-star who's just going to perfectly fit in with what they're doing. They're going to win it all. And they did reach number 1 in 2010. And then they stumbled, and they fell to 24-10, and they got bounced out in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Let's fast forward. 2013, 2014, Texas goes 24-11, reaches the second round of the NCAA tournament. They return everybody. They add 5-star Miles Turner, and it's a 5-star power forward. And it's like, oh, they return everybody, and then they can just plug and play this 5-star one and done freshman. They're going to be awesome. Whoops. They stumble to 20-14, get bounced out in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and Rick Barnes is canned. And all I'm saying is that Rick Barnes doesn't coach one and done freshmen well because it's not his style. Rick Barnes' style are 3- and 4-star guys who will be 3- to 4-year guys and develop and maximize their potential. And also one and done transfer portal seniors who want to fine tune a part of their game so they can take a shot at the NBA draft in a year. That's where you get the Dalton Connects. That's where you get the Chaz Laniers. That's where I think you'll get the Jacoby Gillespies this year. Jalen Carey. I'm fine with those transfer portal guys, but one and done transfer portal players, freshmen, one and done transfer portal freshmen do not work out in Rick Barnes' system. It is obviously one and done transfer portal freshmen. The only one he's ever made it to the Sweet 16 with is Julian Phillips. And again, Julian Phillips was, I think, the 5th most important player on that team. Yeah, Josiah Jordan Games, Olivia Nkomwa, Santiago Escovy was good that year. So, sorry, guys. Rick Barnes' history proves this 5-star signing is not going to work out.
Okay, here's why Caleb is so wrong. And I love you. But you're never going to turn down an elite player. And if you think that he just might be there for a year, you're not going to turn him down. And here's the other thing to remember. Okay, so let's just say he's good but not great. Then he stays around for. Does he have another year?
I mean, he could stay for 4 years, obviously.
Thank you.
He's not going to, though. He even said, he was quoted yesterday as saying, Rick Barnes sees me as a one-and-done prospect. And then he said, I look at Kevin Durant, and I see that's what Rick Barnes can get out of me, and that's a great goal. Except Kevin Durant didn't deliver anything for Rick Barnes. I mean, Kevin Durant hasn't really delivered much for people in the NBA either. But he
won a championship.
Yes, because he joined a 73-win team.
I know.
I mean, like, it was.
I know.
It's the most pathetic, like, legacy talk of all time. I'm saying Kevin Durant playing for Rick Barnes got bounced out in the first round, got dropped off by Chris Lofton from 35 feet. Okay. I'm telling you guys.
Oh, come on.
I'm telling you guys up
that
front.
Shot does not go in. Wow. 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, but a halfway decent defender makes sure that shot doesn't go in anyway. But Kevin Durant fully extended and Chris Lofton dropped him off because Kevin Durant was soft. He's soft.
He's not soft. Dude, I've watched him in person. He's not soft.
He's soft. He's soft. He's
okay,
soft.
Let's debate that for another time.
So anyways, what I'm trying to say and what I'm bringing up is that Rick Barnes, I'm not saying you don't take the player. I'm saying Rick Barnes' coaching style is not going to work. They'll be in the NCAA tournament next year. They might advance to the second round. It's as good as they're going to do. Guys, let's just talk about his time at Tennessee with one and done transfer portal. I mean, with one and done freshman. I just brought up Julian Phillips. How about 2020, 2021? He had 2 5-star one and done transfer portal. He had 2 5-star one and done freshmen. Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer got bounced out in the first round. How about 2022? He had 5-star Kennedy Chandler. was a 3 seed, lost to 11 seed Michigan in the second round.
I'm with his name, Madden Speeden. I would totally take talent over everything else. Sorry.
Fine. You can take the talent, but some people can't coach the talent right. This guy's not a fit for Rick Barnes. Okay? I'm sorry, he's not. I'm going to say this to you guys right up front right now. If Rick Barnes were coaching that Syracuse team in 2003, they get bounced out in the first weekend. Carmelo Anthony would never have won a title playing for Rick Barnes as a one-and-done guy. So this is what I'm telling you guys. Rick Barnes' history. This is not a knock on his coaching. He coaches you hard. He tries to develop you. He tries to fit you in with the team. He coaches fundamentals, and he pushes you really hard. It doesn't work for one-and-done freshmen who are just trying to get in, get out, and get their money that they feel like they should be getting anyway, which I don't blame them for. Okay? That's just not how this works. By the way,
yeah,
and someone actually...
I'm just saying, one of our best posters, General Ursus, says exactly, Dave.
Okay, hold on. Dylan is asking me a question. And he says, so Kennedy Chandler wasn't a fit. Kennedy Chandler, most people wanted Zakai Ziegler starting over Kennedy Chandler that year, and Kennedy Chandler got bounced out in the first weekend of the NCAA tournament because he couldn't do anything against Michigan. So this is what I'm talking about. Okay, and Ben Hall, this actually is a great way to address it. He says the 2020-2021 team would also lose by 15 to this year's team. So what's your point? You're right, Ben, but this past year's team had less talent than the 2020-2021 team. They just played well together because they were developed well by Rick Barnes. I'm not knocking Rick Barnes' style. He's a great coach. Again, where Rick Barnes is at his best is 3 and 4 stars who stay 3 to 4 years and develop. Grant Williams, superstar. Admiral Schofield, very good player in college. He's also at his best with veteran players who are transfers who want to develop one part of their game.
Caleb. All right. So you're just telling me that Rick Barnes can only take overachievers and get to a certain point.
Overachievers and veterans.
Okay,
Overachievers and veterans.
Then fire him.
No, you don't fire him. You don't fire him. He's still going to have
good enough. That's
better than anything Tennessee basketball has ever done in history.
So
I think you stick with them. I'm just saying this isn't going to work. It's not going to work. And Tennessee, second round Rick will be back next year. Tennessee will not. How about this? Let's play bank on it right now. Tennessee's not getting out of the first weekend of the NCAA tournament.
Oh, good Lord. So not Sweet 16.
No Sweet 16. No Sweet 16.
Okay.
No Elite Eight.
Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank. Member FDIC, life made better. Caleb is crazy. Bank on it. Brought to you by Commercial Bank.
Commercial Bank is your neighborhood bank. What makes us different from other banks? We understand that every customer has unique opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. We don't expect you to fit into the same box as the next person or business. Whether it's purchasing a home, saving for your child's future, or planning for your next vacation, we're with you every step of the way to navigate life's big decisions. Commercial Bank.
Okay, so past the first weekend or not? You tell me.
Tennessee basketball will not make it past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament next year. I'm willing to bet on that right now. And Unsung comes and goes, where did Barnes hurt you at, Caleb? Dave, will you acknowledge I have been one of the biggest cheerleaders of Rick Barnes' tenure at Tennessee. Have I not? And defended.
You actually have. Not just you on the show, but across the board. Yes.
Yes, exactly. So I am a huge fan of Rick Barnes and his coaching style. However, I have history on my side with this. Again, Rick Barnes has made it out of the first weekend one time with a one-and-done freshman. That one time was with Julian Phillips, who was totally unimportant to that Tennessee basketball team. Okay? So again, if this is the case, if I'm some crazy person with my crazy takes, by relying on history, this is a man.
You're reading. Okay, go ahead.
This is a man who did not get out of the first weekend with Kevin Durant on his team. Okay? That's all you need to know.
Oh, well, okay. If Kevin Durant played 4 years for Texas, then we'd have a sample size. Anybody can get beat in the first round of the tournament.
But Dave, that's my point. You're right. Sample size. The sample size is 8 out of 9 one-and-done freshmen didn't get out of the first weekend under Rick Barnes. That's a pretty darn good sample size, isn't it?
Not really.
8 out of 9?
Okay. Vols will make the first round of the NCAA tournament. Whoa, change that. Can you change that? Past the first weekend is what I meant to put on there. So can you
yes, sure.
change that up for me? And it is going to be today's tough question, brought to you by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com. I want to remind you that I absolutely love TedRussellFord.net and TedRussellLincoln.net. When it comes to having a perfect buying experience, you cannot do no better than Ted Russell and TedRussellFord.net. TedRussellLincoln.net, TedRussellFord.net. They love you. They want to make sure you're happy in your vehicle. It's pretty special. With Caleb Calhoun, I'm Dave Hooker, Off the Sports.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location.
I keep winning on the poll question. Would you like to go back to?
Okay. Yes. Vols will make it past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament. Yes, they have a superstar. No, not with Barnes and one and done. 80% say yes, they have a superstar. 20% say not with Barnes and a one and done. I don't care if more people agree with you. More people are wrong. I'll just tell you guys this right now. It's not happening.
You need to be nicer to our audience.
Dave, I will be nice to our audience when our audience deserves for me to be nice to them.
Okay, what was the poll question for that?
Before that, the poll question before that was, I'm trying to pull it up. How many games will losing Nico Iamaleava cost Tennessee in 2025? 32% say 2 games, 27% say 1 game, 20% say 0, and another 20% say they'll actually be better without Nico. So that's an interesting one. But I don't know. I get the question of let's set up a pool for this bet, guys. I think there are some legal issues of setting up a company-wide pool for a bet, particularly if you're not like a licensed casino company. So I don't think we can do that legally, guys. Sorry.
Okay. We're not doing basketball much longer because that's what our fans want. And so hang tight. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, as we broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studios.
It's a new year, a new day, and Ted Russell Lincoln has an exciting new offer to share. Right now, get a 2024 Lincoln Navigator with 0% APR for 72 months and up to $4,000 in bonus cash. Or drive away in a new 2024 Lincoln Corsair Grand Touring with 0% APR for 60 months and up to $4,500 in bonus cash. It's time to get excited about the ride. Come and see what a luxury car experience truly is at Ted Russell Lincoln, Knoxville.
Now in its 45th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Having been in the jewelry industry for a long time in the Knoxville community, I saw a need for a jeweler, a real jeweler.
Our ability to do these designs has really been based on the customers bringing new things in and challenging us as a store. Our goal is not to tell anybody what they want. Our goal is to listen to what they want and then help them get there.
Schedule your consultation today to get your special someone the perfect custom gift just in time for the holidays.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
There's your pair.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping, the absolute.
I gotta love this question here. Would I have taken
Bring America
Good Lord. Go ahead.
Would I have taken Cooper Flagg over Chaz Lanier is a question from Ben Hall. Not under Rick Barnes. No, I would take. I would have taken Chaz Lanier over Cooper Flagg. Yeah, sorry. Cooper Flagg would not have been as good under Rick Barnes.
Really?
No, he wouldn't have. No, Rick Barnes doesn't coach one and done freshmen well.
Okay, let's go ahead and make that a poll question if you can. I don't know what you're thinking there.
Well, let's see. Would Cooper Flagg have done better?
What are the results of our latest poll question?
Will Vols make it past the first weekend of the NCAA tournament? Yes, they have a superstar, 82%. No, not with Barnes and a one and done, 17%.
Okay. What do you think of that?
I think that I think there's a lot of belief that Rick Barnes has changed his style so much that he can deal with one and done freshmen in a different way. I don't think Rick Barnes has changed his style as much as the college basketball landscape has changed under him, and that's actually helped him. I think the new college basketball landscape is conducive to his coaching style.
Wait. If it's helped him, why is it in the Final Four?
Because he's gone to 2 straight Elite Eights. Like, it has helped. He's gone from being second round Rick to making 3 straight Sweet 16 appearances and 2 straight Elite Eights. So he's definitely gotten better in the new era.
Better or good enough?
Better. And I still think he's knocking on the door for a title. I just don't think it'll come with a one and done freshman.
Okay, so if Rick Barnes is going to be deemed as a successful and elite coach, what does he have to do?
I think he's already successful and elite. I think all that he's got left on his resume is to try to go win a national title.
Okay, here we go. So results question.
Would Cooper Flagg have done better at Tennessee than Chaz Lanier? 88% say yes, 12% say no. Again, I am breaking with everybody on that. So we'll see how it rolls.
Good Lord, you're so mean. Okay, say something smart for 15 seconds so I can get this thing to work.
Cooper Flagg. Look, Rick Barnes, this isn't that one and done suffer as individual players under Rick Barnes. They actually get developed well for the NBA in the year. It's just it doesn't fit with the system he's trying to run when they're in college at the school he's coaching.
This day in Tennessee sports history.
It's cool, baby. It's cool.
Now you know, and knowing is half the battle. The Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Off the Hook Sports.
Okay, this day in Tennessee sports history is what?
I'm gonna send a just random happy birthday because it happened over the weekend. Funny enough, but it happened on Saturday. But I'm gonna send a happy birthday to her today. Candace Parker turned 39 years old on Saturday. Funny enough, Candace Parker, obviously, arguably I say the greatest lady Vol ever. I know some people would say Shamika Holtzclaw, but I'm probably going to go Candace Parker. I think Holtzclaw had more help around her. And when you look at Candace Parker's WNBA career and what she's done as an ambassador since then, I think Candace Parker is far and away the greatest Lady Vols basketball player ever at a program that has got a lot of legends.
Well, it's been really intriguing to me that she is so good, so good on TV too. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, she is incredibly good on TV, like incredibly so.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, she could show up and be good looking and be fine, but it's been a lot more than that. Let's get hot or cold, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. Here we go.
Where do you stand? Hot or cold? Brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Integrity matters. 50 years in East Tennessee. Cityheatandair.com. On Off the Hook Sports.
All right, let's talk some Tennessee transfer portal guys. Christian Charles. Let's start with that.
Yes, this follows Nico Iamaleava, obviously, and John Slaughter, who we covered last week. A few others have hit the transfer portal over the weekend. The hot or cold on if their loss is a big deal. And Christian Charles hit the transfer portal on Friday. It's actually why we were doing the show on Friday. We mentioned it, but we didn't really break down losing him. I don't think losing him at cornerback is a huge loss. I think Christian Charles is a very smart player. He does have a lot of speed. He never really mastered just the actual art of playing cornerback. And I think Tennessee, I think he left over lack of playing time.
Yeah, that, and I believe he's the type of guy that when you had 85 scholarships, that he's kind of an okay guy.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
But he's not great. So I would take that. By the way, let me see if I can get this to work correctly. Maybe. We'll find out. Cooper Mays, what do you think?
Cooper Mays here. Hit like and subscribe.
First time that button has worked. Okay. So do that. And what down?
No, not downs. We're doing hot or cold.
Oh, hot or cold. All right. So tell me, Aiden Bustle, loss?
I don't think Aiden Bustle was much of a loss. He didn't do much on the offensive line for Tennessee. I think that was a body Tennessee added, and I think he hit the portal. I think he's gone from a 3-star to completely unrated, so I think he hit the portal afterward. I think that Aiden Bustle, he comes from Mount Juliet, Tennessee. I think it was honestly, him entering the portal could be a good sign for the Vols because he was an interior lineman, and there were questions about that part of the Vols offensive line this year. So him entering the portal, I think, is actually a really good sign that they do have reliable bodies on the interior of the line now.
Okay, I'm going to take a step back. Is Tennessee better with or without Charles?
I don't think it makes a difference.
Okay.
And the same with Bustle.
All right, Bustle?
Makes no difference.
That's hot.
Larry Johnson III.
I'm hot on this as a loss. This is a loss for Tennessee. Tennessee lost John Campbell Jr. at right tackle. They have an opening there. Now, I know everybody losing Larry Johnson means one of three things, quite honestly. And two of them are bad. Because I'm going to say this to you guys. Larry Johnson was even if you did, he was either going to be the starting right tackle, or he was going to be the utility tackle backing up Lance Hurd and whoever the right tackle may be. Either way, that's a good situation to be in because you're going to get a lot of snaps. And he played 130 something last year. So he was a rising talent. If you enter the transfer portal, it's for one of three reasons. One, Tennessee is the only positive one will be that they're so high on David Sanders that Larry Johnson knew he wouldn't beat him out, even though he's a true freshman. The other two would be either Larry Johnson, some NIL funds ran out and Tennessee had to cut off Larry Johnson, or Larry Johnson, and this could be an interesting one, Dave, the whole Nico thing blowing up, he's just worried about the situation of the program under Josh Heupel, and he bolted.
Okay, there's that problem, and the fact that I was told a year ago that Larry Johnson was going to be a really good player. So, man, you do not want to lose a guy like that.
No, you don't. It's something's odd about this, and people are saying it's about, like, I hear the reason the David Sanders Jr. argument kind of falls a little bit on its face to me, even though I believe that, yes, he would start at right tackle. Larry Johnson wouldn't leave as the number 3 tackle in a situation. Dave, you know this. The number 3 tackle, the number 3 receiver, the number 3 cornerback, yes, they're like the first spot out, but they get a lot of snaps at the same time in a season, almost effectively as a starter.
Well, I really thought that if things didn't work out with David Sanders, that Larry Johnson would be just fine. And I'm not saying great, but just fine. And that's not the case. And that surprises me. Now, does he go somewhere else and have a great career?
I mean, Johnson, he could. Look, Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson. I still look. We're having a debate over whether or not he starts. I think whether or not he starts was not the big deal, though, because even if he didn't start, and GBO Kyle Beach says Larry Johnson wants to be a starter. What's going to happen at Tennessee? But Kyle, if you're the utility tackle, the third in the rotation, and you back up both the left and the right tackle, well, you're going to see a lot of action, effectively the same amount a starter would in this system.
Okay, so going to the message board, Dylan says that Sham Umarov had a great spring as well. That's what I was told. So my question is, who out of this group you look at and you're like, man, Josh Heupel, great job?
Nobody yet. We're gonna have to wait and see. But there's Sham Umarov. Isn't Sham Umarov, Dave, an interior lineman though?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not going to help.
Left guard.
I'm sorry?
Left guard.
Yeah, that's not going to help Larry Johnson. Yeah. That's not going to help Larry Johnson. So that's not going to help Larry Johnson. I mean, that's not going to help them at tackle at all. That wasn't going to hurt Larry Johnson. That wouldn't have pushed him into the portal because Larry Johnson's a tackle. So, I mean, the only thing I could think for Tennessee at tackle right now, and this is kind of interesting on how it will play out, but I would say that maybe Bennett Warren, maybe Jesse Perry, but like I think they're a little short now on depth at tackle. Because now with Larry Johnson leaving, they almost have to start David Sanders, which maybe they were planning on doing the whole time, but doesn't leave you a lot of extra options beyond David Sanders, and that's the problem. This is why I think no matter how you look at it, losing Larry Johnson is kind of a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I liked him more than most. I think I told you that time. I think I told you that last year. I really liked him to step in, and it surprises me that I will go on record. I think he's trying to figure out how much he's worth, and he'll be back at Tennessee.
You think Larry Whoa, this is big news. So you think Larry Johnson is going to return to Tennessee, and this is a flirting with money situation?
Yep, I do.
That's hot.
All right. So who's next? Hot or cold?
Those are the main three ones. Those are the only ones that have entered the portal to this point. Larry Johnson, Aiden Bussell, and the guy Christian Charles.
Okay. So if you could get one of those guys back, who would it be?
Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson. Not even a question. Larry Johnson.
Yep. Agreed. Hot or cold brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com.
Hi, Mike Davis here with City Heating and Air, reminding you to always dare to compare. Our team provides quality local heating and air service, installation, and maintenance across East Tennessee. We use only the best equipment like American Standard heating and air conditioning for your residential, new construction, or commercial needs. Honesty, dependability, and customer satisfaction have been the cornerstones of our business since 1961. City Heat and Air.
Dare to compare.
And here we go.
Guess it was a huge waste of time, like bringing a married guy to Vegas.
Then there's this guy, the Dave Hooker Show with Caleb Calhoun. Represented by T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com, Tennessee's trial attorney. From the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln Studio, East Tennessee's #1 volume and customer service dealer, Ted Russell Ford and TedRussellLincoln.net. Now to the Dave Hooker Show on Off the Hook Sports.
All right, Caleb. Let's tackle a big topic. It's time to do away with the spring transfer portal. It's done. It's useless. It's stupid. It just gives players leverage. I can't stand it.
So this is obviously an intriguing conversation. And so for those who don't know, Dave has never been a believer in the spring transfer portal. Have you? Because you believe players who hit the portal in the spring are not usually not going to start anywhere anyway.
Well, I don't think that the tough guys, not the skill position player guys, I don't believe they have any opportunity to have an impact. But I'm beginning to believe that way about the skill position guys and quarterbacks as well. I mean, will you please tell me the last time that somebody has signed a quarterback in the spring transfer portal and they've been, bam, they're good?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this portal is relatively new, so it may have happened, but none that I know of off the top of my head. I will say that. So that is that's kind of intriguing. I didn't think about it that way, but you are right. At the same time, the worst part about the spring transfer portal is the negotiating leverage that it allows players to use in the winter. And the coaches, by the way. Both sides get to lie to each other to say that, oh, like, we want this or we'll leave in the spring. And the coaches might even lie and say, we'll give you that after spring. They don't give it. The player has to hit the portal after spring. And they don't really have anywhere good to go. There's a lot of issues with the spring transfer portal. I'm with you on look, the winter transfer portal is obvious. My only reason that I'm okay with the spring transfer portal, I think there are a lot of players that like the open competition in the spring to determine if they could be a starter or not, and they want to play. And that's what spring for a lot. I think it helps coaches too, because for a lot of them, it's a way to figure out, okay, brought in some guys, who's going to play, who's going to not, who's not going to play. We can go ahead and nix them out. We get that scholarship back and call it a day. Now, I will say that kind of renders the spring transfer portal useless because most of the time spring transfer portal guys are transferring because they didn't win the starting job at the place they're at. However, that doesn't mean they couldn't go to a smaller school and be successful. So I'm for the spring transfer portal because it does help. It will help schools fill a void to a certain degree. And we've seen guys, I mean, Dave, I know you talk about quarterbacks in the summer or whatever, but you know, when you covered Tennessee, I'm sure you covered true freshmen who arrived not till fall camp, which was much more common back then, and they immediately won a starting job in fall camp. So it's not like you can't win a starting job in fall camp.
Kinda. What position?
Well, I mean, quarterback. Eric Ainge and Brent Schaefer won the starting job over Rick Clausen and CJ Leak in 2004 in fall camp. They weren't there in the summer.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they weren't there in the summer. I remember it was.
Well, it's possible, but give me more.
Let's see. Eric Ainge, Brent Schaefer, true freshman, fall camp, immediately won the starting job. Jamal Lewis, 3 weeks in, became the starting running back. He was a true freshman. Wasn't there in the spring. You know, I mean, this is, you know, we could go on and on. Meacham was a redshirt freshman because he had suffered a season-ending injury his first year at Tennessee. So, but those two are the big ones. And I mean, again, Tennessee won the East with a quarterback that won the starting job with two quarterbacks that didn't arrive to a fall camp in 2004. So it happens. I don't see any reason it can't happen and that there can't be success with that. I think that it depends on.
But if you take somebody that's in the spring portal and you bring them along, there's like a limit of success, right?
There's a limit, but it doesn't mean that they can't be successful enough, I guess is where I'm coming in. If you have a severe deficiency, Dave, think about this. If you have a severe deficiency, spring portal can help you address that. It'll help you offset how severe the deficiency is. And so I think that's kind of where it's a big deal, is it can help you offset how big the deficiency is. So I don't think it's as bad as you think it is, the spring transfer portal. I want to break with you on this. I'm a fan of the spring portal.
Okay, in what way?
Because of that. Because I think that the spring portal allows teams to address certain deficiencies. It allows players who realize that they've lost a starting job at a school. It allows them to hit the transfer portal.
Okay, so can a quarterback make an impact?
Yeah, I just told you. Brent Schaefer and Eric Ainge. Fall camp didn't arrive.
Oh, come on.
It's true. I mean, like I'm saying, I don't think practicing in the spring is always necessary.
Who was the quarterback before?
Casey Clausen.
Well, no, I mean,
you mean who was the starter? CJ Leak. CJ Leak. But wait, hold on. I'll go even a step further on this, but like
you have a better release than CJ Leak.
Let's compare. Joe Milton did, for whatever it's worth, win the starting job first when he arrived on campus, and he wasn't there during the spring. He was a spring portal transfer. Now, he lost it within a week to Hendon Hooker, so we can go to, I mean, there is that, but it wasn't because he wasn't ready. It was because he just wasn't as good as Hendon Hooker, honestly. So I don't think the spring portal is as much of a problem as you make. It hasn't worked as well for Tennessee. And it has been a bit of an issue for Tennessee, but I can't sit up there. I can't sit up there and say that the spring portal is just a complete waste no matter what. So I guess that's where I'm at with this.
Okay. So what do you think that Carson Beck will do at Miami?
Well, Carson Beck was there before the spring portal window.
Right, but just first-year quarterback, what do you think he'll do?
I think he'll do fine. He did just as fine as Kim. I mean, Kim Ward did fine at Miami last year.
Okay, so give me one spring transfer quarterback that you think will do well, and you can pull it up.
You're focused on the quarterback situation. I'm just saying it helps teams shore up depth in certain other areas. May not work at quarterback. I can't name you one right off the bat. One hasn't worked for Tennessee. I'll be the first to admit. Tennessee hasn't had a spring transfer portal guy work out yet. But look, you're focused on the wrong thing with that. So I think Tennessee will be fine in the spring transfer portal. I do. I don't think it's as big of a deal as you think.
Okay. Derek says, which leak?
Well, I have no idea. Maybe Chris Leak was accurate, if anything else.
CJ wasn't.
Are we sure he wasn't? Well, CJ may have been at least maybe he was accurate. He just had a slow release, right?
Yes, very slow, very inaccurate. Stay tuned. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, with Caleb Calhoun. I'm Dave Hooker. Stay tuned. 2 minutes off the Sports.
Like a blast from the past, the Super Dealer is back. Look to the skies, Knoxville. The Super Dealer is fighting for price, service, and the American-made. Ted Russell Ford is East Tennessee's #1 volume Ford dealer. Save up to $4,350 on a new Ford F-150 XLT, or get into a new Ford Ranger XLT with no payments for 90 days. Come see the Super Dealer today at either Ted Russell Ford location, Parkside Drive, or Kingston Pike.
Sports Treasures in North Knoxville is one of the South's largest sports cards and memorabilia dealers, featuring over 10 million sports cards from vintage to modern. Sports Treasures carries a full line of hobby boxes, singles, autographed memorabilia, Tennessee Vol collectibles, fan cave decorations, and so much more. See a museum full of collectibles at Sports Treasures, 4819 North Broadway in Fountain City, and Sports Treasures on Facebook. Sports Treasures, where the real sports fan goes to shop.
Community banking is about location and much more. It's about family. We reside in your community. We are a part of your community. At Commercial Bank, our commitment extends beyond the walls of our branches. It's displayed each day in the opportunities we provide, the money we give back, and the time we commit, all to help improve the lives of the people, families, and businesses that make our communities great. Commercial Bank, life made better.
Double D Piping provides full-service fire protection on any scale. From residential homes to government facilities, we can assist any customer through design, fabrication, installation, inspection, and demonstration of fire suppression systems. With 30 years of service across 5 states and a full staff with over 40 years experience, our quality can't be beaten. Don't get caught watching what you could have prevented. Call Double D Piping, the absolute.
Welcome back to the program. Caleb Calhoun here with Off the Hook Sports. Dave Hooker, as you guys can see, is very significantly under the weather right now. So bear with us. I'm going to try to finish off this show in an intriguing way. And I think we're going to close with Lane Kiffin. For those who don't know, Lane Kiffin made some more news over the weekend. It was pretty funny. We talked about Lane Kiffin on Theo Vaughn on Friday, and he said some funny stuff. Lane Kiffin then went on another show, I think it was a Pivot podcast, and decided to talk about Carson Beck and the NIL money that Carson Beck was saying. I'm just going to show this real quick. This was hilarious. This is Lane Kiffin on the Pivot podcast talking about Carson Beck's NIL money.
It's crazy, Coach, that you bring up the NFL structure with college now, because they're under contract. They're making money. They're making millions of dollars. I think down in Miami, what's Carson Beck?
4.3.
4.3 million. I think my biggest year was 6. He's a college kid. So, like, you bring up the comparison of what they're doing. They're really getting NFL money.
Miami gave him $4.3 million. That's what the evaluation says. Hey, did they watch this game against us? You don't have to be great, Coach. Hey, Lane,
Yes, Lane Kiffin said, did they not see the game against us? For those who don't remember, here is Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss beat Georgia last year 28-10. Yes, 28-10. That's pretty impressive. So Lane Kiffin had a good point with that. Ole Miss, if I remember correctly, Ole Miss, and Dave Hooker is back with us. Dave, we're talking about Ole Miss and Tennessee, and Lane Kiffin talking about Carson Beck and the NIL money. Lane Kiffin took a shot at Carson Beck over the weekend and said, did he not see the game against us? Because Ole Miss beat Georgia 28-10, and Carson Beck was 20-31 for 186 yards and an interception. So the question is this: was Lane Kiffin out of line taking a shot at Carson Beck getting NIL money?
Fair. I just want to apologize to a lot of people because I've been having some weird stomach issues, and
Okay, let's not talk about that. Let's let it go.
You take stuff in a bad place. All right, go ahead.
Was Lane Kiffin out of line for taking a shot at Carson Beck's NIL money?
No, and I'll say this because Jackson Dart wanted another year, and he didn't get another year, but I guarantee you he would have been making $4 million $4 million is like Carson Beck.
Yes, probably. But at the same time, is it appropriate for a coach to mess with a student athlete's money publicly on a podcast?
No, it is not.
So it wasn't fair. It was wrong. Lane Kiffin shouldn't have done that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Do we have the clips?
Oh yeah, I already played it. I played it when you were off the show.
Oh, you play it again?
Sure. 1 second. Here is Lane Kiffin on the Pivot podcast, talking about this situation.
With college now, it's crazy, Coach, that you bring up the NFL structure with college now because they're under contract. They're making money. They're making millions of dollars. I think down in Miami, what's Carson Beck?
4.3.
4.3 million. I think my biggest year was 6. He's a college kid. So, like, you bring up the comparison of what they're doing. They're really getting NFL money.
Miami gave him $4.3 million. That's what the evaluation says. Hey, do they watch this game against us?
Wow. Thoughts?
Yeah, I thought that was completely out of line. I like Lane Kiffin's jokes. I like his trolling, but I don't think you take a shot at someone else and another student athlete's NIL money.
No, that's the thing that's completely changed about everything. I mean, is he more wrong for taking a shot, or is a player more wrong for taking money?
He's more wrong for taking a shot. What's wrong with the player taking money?
I mean, but my point is, if you go back over the case of 50 years, I mean, that would have been bad, right?
Yes, but it would have been the school that people complained about more than the player. I mean, no one ever really judged a player for taking money from a school under the table. They judged the school for giving it to him. So, yeah, I don't. I have no problem with this whatsoever.
Okay, so did you have a problem with Lane having issues with when he was on with Theo Vaughn?
No, I had no problems with that. I thought he was kind of funny, even though he was acting a little bit like a Karen, talking about the bulletproof vest.
All right. I have a meeting to get to. The show represented by Banks & Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney, banksandjones.com, as we broadcast live from the Ted Russell Ford Lincoln studio. Thank you, Caleb. I'm Dave Hooker. I'll fix